Okay, well, we'll begin today. We'll be doing our monthly Kriya Yoga meditation routine. Those of you who aren't familiar, although I'm pretty sure all of you are, you can always go back and refer to the videos on youtube.com/Kriya Yoga Online. Under the playlist Learn Kriya Yoga, there's a long playlist there that goes over all the techniques that we use, from alternate nostril breathing to life force arousal to Sushumna breathing. So that'll be helpful for you to review. Today, I just wanted to chat a little bit before we get started to spend a little more time focusing on the idea of contemplation within meditation. And I find this to be very important because too often I find people who, when they begin meditating, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is learning how to sit still, how to internalize their attention, and how to practice the techniques well, and that's excellent. But usually they get hung up on that point, meaning it'll be 6 months, a year, 2 years, 10 years down the road, and what they're doing is still focusing primarily on the technique. And again, that's fine, that has therapeutic value for your nervous system, for your emotional system, your mental body, and so on. But to get the full results of Kriya practice, and really any kind of meditation practice, is to go beyond the techniques to what the techniques reveal to you. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, the techniques are meant to give you the capacity to experience a thought-free, clear state. And the more you're able to stay engaged in that thought-free, clear state, that's when you're tapping into the full potential of what meditation is leading you towards. Okay, so we have to remember that. So meditation isn't simply about the techniques. It's about learning to exist in that space of thought-free awareness. And why is that? Because when you are not thinking, not conceptualizing, and that doesn't mean that you're in a coma or that you are in a state of unconsciousness, but where you're able to simply exist and be present, fully present, then you're able to know what you are beyond your mind, your body, beyond your karma, beyond your history. And that's the most important thing, because that is where you get the peace that allows you to live life with a little more fullness, with a little more zest, because you're not taking things so seriously. It doesn't mean that you don't attend to your duties. It doesn't mean that you don't deal with problems as they arise, but you're able to see things clearly. You're able to act in the world without attachment. And this is what the sages and the yogis are speaking of when they talk about liberation and bondage. Bondage is attachment to ideas, circumstances, history. It's attachment, just plain and simple. And liberation is freedom from that. And why is that important? Because imagine it this way. Think about being involved in a situation or in a relationship. And instead of acting appropriately in that relationship, based on what's going on right now in the present, you are remembering past things from difficulties within the relationship. Or let's take it even further. You're remembering things from another relationship that is kind of similar, and you're projecting it onto what's happening now. Or we can go even further back, where you are acting out issues that you had with your parents in relationship. And so you're not going to be present because you are attached to, you are bound to concepts from the past. Now again, certain concepts are useful. For example, you want to remember that when the stove gets hot, you don't want to touch it because you'll burn you. That's a simple thing. But when you experience a state of liberation and clarity, you're able to access what is important for the moment without being directed by or attached to obsessions and compulsions from the past. Right? This is the key. So back to my point with meditation, you want to start experimenting with the contemplation after you practice the technique, wondering, what are you that experiences this body? What are you that thinks it's meditating right now? What are you that's going to get up and go about your day after meditation, that's going to interact with the people in your life? And the more you're able to do that, you'll start to bring that state of clarity into your daily activities. And this is most important because too often yogis, hatha yogis, kriya yogis, technique-oriented yogis, what they do is they experience clarity and peace in meditation, but they never really practice bringing it into their daily life. And so then they become bound to the meditation techniques as their special key to experience comfort and peace. And so they get stressed out, and what do they have to do? Oh, I have to go meditate. Well, what if you started practicing meditating every day as you're doing, but then randomly throughout the day, no matter what you're doing, whether you're taking a nap or watching TV or answering an email, talking to a friend, doing your work, mowing the grass, whatever it might be, you ask yourself, what would it be like to access that state of clarity, that thought-free state, and then practice doing that. So you remember it from the meditation, and then you invite it into your daily life. And how you do that, you have to figure that out. Okay, so as teachers, meditation teachers, we can give you guidance, but you still have to do the work. You still have to go through, and figure out how to put that recipe together. And it happens through trial and error. Personally, when I started experimenting with this, what I had to do was I had to remember that state of clarity, and then it was almost as if I was forcing out all of the thoughts, as if they were kind of objects crowded around me, and with like a force in my mind, I was pushing them out, dissolving them. And I had to do it with some willpower. It took a bit, but then I would experience a moment or two of that thought-free state, and no matter what I was doing. And I had a successful moment after many, many tries. And then I realized, okay, this works for me. And so I started doing that more and more until eventually it became easier for me to just think or will, clarity and peace. And then no matter what I was doing, for the most part, I was thought-free. Meaning I wasn't doing something and thinking about something else or thinking about how to improve it. I was just there in that present moment, like so many people talk about. And that took practice. So you have to start thinking about how can you do that too. Because that's the only way that you're going to experience absolute and complete liberation. Absolute and complete liberation does not come from becoming the best meditator in the world. Meditation is training. It comes from learning during meditation and then experimenting with yourself. How can I apply this in my daily life? And start with simple things. So, start with being stuck in traffic, or start with when you're taking a walk. You don't want to try to set yourself next to blazing fires with loud music and see if you can do it then, because if you can't do it when it's mostly calm and quiet, well, you're not going to be able to do it then either. But you can slowly work up to these things. So hopefully this makes sense to you. So you'll see as we go through the meditation practice today, I am going to take moments to encourage you to contemplate what we're discussing, to watch and be aware of those moments when you do experience a thought-free state. And you have to be very alert and attentive, because in those thought-free moments, there's really nothing going on. There's really nothing to pay attention to, which is why you probably experience many of these states throughout the day anyway, but you're learning to become more aware of them now because they're so subtle. right? You're used to drama. You're used to when something's going wrong, or when there's your senses are being stimulated. You're used to that. But what we're trying to get you to do is to pay attention to that space in between, which is always there, and it happens a lot throughout the day, but we just don't see it because it's not trying to get our attention. It's not saying, hey, come look at me. We have to look at it, right? And this is the important thing. And many people ask, well, can I do some other kind of activity to experience this thought-free state, like when I knit, or when I go rock climbing, or when I go fishing, or playing music? Can I use that? Why can't I just do that instead of meditating? Well, I used to say you can't. You should learn how to meditate, and I still mostly agree with that. But what I would say now is if there are activities where you find that to be the case, then treat it as a meditation, in the same way that we're treating our standard meditation, where you pay attention to when you're in that thought-free state, that thought-free zone, and then you are aware of it, and then at other times during the day you ask yourself, okay, how can I experience this now? And this will be helpful for you because it'll start to give you some insights again into that thought-free state. But again, you have to bring it into all of your activities. You have to practice bringing it into all of your activities. And when you do that, you'll start to recognize that this clarity has been there all along. And you'll start to recognize that obsessing over, being anxious over, being compulsive over the things that make you a little nuts, because we're all a little nuts inside. That's why we're here trying to practice meditation. You won't need that anymore. You'll realize that life goes on and you don't have to worry about it. That these things that you thought you had to stress over, you actually don't. That was just a habit that you had, because whether things go wrong or whether things go good, it's not dependent on how active your mind is or how calm your mind is. Life still goes on up and down, but what you're learning to do is to see that foundation, which is yourself, God, divine consciousness, whatever word you want to use, divine mother. It's always there. There are spaces, glimpses of it when it flashes into our life, even without meditation, that we're not aware of it. And all we are doing through meditation is directing our subtle intelligence, our awareness back to that realization, so that we can start to learn to exist there rather than existing in the all the noise that seems so important. All the noise that says, look at me. And once you can let that go, usually you can breathe a little bit easier, and you find a little more peace in the world, and you start to understand and realize what all of those ancient sages and writers and yogis who've experienced this, or recognized it, I should say, because we're all experiencing it, but they've recognized it. You'll start to understand what they're talking about, and then you'll say to yourself, well, this really wasn't that hard. Of course, nothing's hard once you start to master it, but you'll laugh a little bit at the fact that it's been there all along. That's really what I'm trying to get at. Okay, so today, let's go ahead and we'll begin our meditation the same way that I like to lead them every month. We'll start by sitting up straight. Whether you're sitting in a chair or sitting cross-legged, it doesn't matter to me. As long as your back is straight, you're sitting upright. So sitting up straight, taking a nice, easy, deep breath in. Exhale, relax. Close your eyes. And direct your attention to your breath. Let the breath be the anchor. And as you breathe, be aware of the sensation of the air entering your body, the sensation of your lungs filling, your chest expanding, and your belly expanding, because you need to be doing belly breathing as well. And feel the exhale Noting any tension, pain, or distractions within the body. And on each exhale, allow that to dissolve in your mind or release your attention from it. Give your awareness to the environment around you. Feel the air against your skin. Any sounds that may be in your environment. Listening, observing without judgment. Keep the attention on the breath. Now turn the awareness to the mind, the thoughts within the mind, whatever they may be at this moment. Look at them as though you'd look at clouds in the sky. Doesn't matter what they are. You are letting the breath be the anchor, and you are observing whatever thoughts arise and fall without trying to get rid of them. Just seeing what is that that's going on in your mental field right now. And now wonder and acknowledge to yourself, what am I? What is the part of me that was able to experience these thoughts, that is able to see them, observe them? What am I? What is this observing presence which is able to feel this body, to know that this body exists? What am I that is aware of the environment around me? What am I that experiences this whole process? It was there last night when I was dreaming, yesterday when I was interacting with the world, when I was a child. What is that presence which has been there all along, observing every change, every rise and fall within my consciousness? And wonder about that. Feel it. Give your attention to your core, whether it's your heart or your spine, however you feel that. Withdraw your attention there and wonder, what is this witnessing presence that experiences all this? Now with your eyes closed, still, take a moment to honor and acknowledge that divinity within you, that light, which is the same consciousness shared by all, spiritual masters that you honor, that have been important to your path. Acknowledge that inner light, which is timeless, always ready to reveal itself to you, so long as you direct your attention to it and take some time to figure out how to experience it. The radiance of the self within. Honor it, acknowledge it, and give yourself permission to recognize it from this point forward. Now, let's begin by practicing alternate nostril breathing together. We'll do it about 24 rounds. You don't have to worry about counting, I'll count. Go at your own pace. Take your time. And as you inhale and exhale, feel as though you are breathing in. So if you're breathing in through your left nostril, feel that you are pulling life force energy into the left side of your body. As you exhale through the right nostril, imagine that life force, radiant and cleansing, moving out of the right side of the body. And continue in this way. On each inhale, you inhale radiance into the side of the body that you're inhaling through. And as you exhale, you're exhaling through that side of the body. So we're trying to create a full, visceral body experience with this process. So let's begin. So now, wherever you are with your alternate nostril breathing, you can conclude. Rest your hands down by your side or on your lap. With your eyes closed, be aware of how you feel within your body. Be aware of the current state of your mind. And keep your attention at the spiritual eye center, the space between the eyebrows. You may have noticed that when I was doing alternate nostril breathing, if you had your eyes open at any moment, that I rested my 2 fingers in between my eyebrows. And you can still see the red marks, so I guess I was pressing pretty hard. But that helps you to become aware of the frontal lobes of the brain and the spiritual eye center. So in the future, if you feel like doing that, that can help you stay focused, more attentive. But for now, with the eyes closed, be aware of the body, be aware of your current state of consciousness, and just simply observe. Rest within that peaceful, alert stillness generated through this initial practice, this beginning practice of alternate nostril breathing. Keeping the awareness in between the eyebrows, resting your attention there as you breathe, remembering that everything is divine consciousness. So even the thoughts and distractions that arise, that is also a temporary manifestation, a temporal manifestation of the self. And so long as you are able to remain aware and watchful, not getting engaged in it, not losing yourself in the distractions, then you are existing as the observer. The self is the observer, and you are conscious of yourself as the temporal changes. And so either way, you are the self. So relax into this. Now remember this state of watchfulness. And notice that you may have still had distractions, but that wasn't a problem. Now we're going to make this a focus on the basic initial practices of Kriya Yoga. So we're not going to do Sushumna breathing today in the sense of the Kriya Pranayama, nor are we going to do Jyoti Mudra. We've done that other times. And again, you can review that again online. We're going to focus on the initial techniques, because too often people overlook these, of the basic breathing through the spine and then chanting through the chakras. These are excellent practices. So let's begin with breathing through the spine, which is technically called Sushumna breathing, but we're not doing it in the same way that we would do the Kriya pranayama like we've done in the past. All we're doing now is giving our awareness to the spine, imagining, feeling that current ascending up through the spine gently, and then just letting it flow back down. So we're not doing anything special with our throat or constricting our throat. All we're doing is gently giving our attention to the spine and imagining, feeling that we are circulating cool life force up through the spine on the inhale, and letting it flow back down gently, warm and soothing on the exhale. So let's do that now. Remember, as you practice this technique, it can be helpful to keep your attention at the spiritual eye. So you are breathing through the spine, but you are simultaneously resting your awareness here, the spiritual eye center, to help keep you alert and focused yet relaxed. Okay, now wherever you are in your practice of Sushumna breathing, let it go. Let your awareness rest in the spiritual eye center. That's the anchor. Let the body breathe normally and naturally. Now contemplate. Feel yourself. Contemplate that aspect of you which is aware of your current state of consciousness, the state of your body, your mind, your environment. Wonder What is this witnessing presence which is able to experience this? What am I that experiences this? Obviously, I'm not the thoughts, because those rise and they fall, yet I remain. Obviously, I'm not the body, because sometimes I'm aware of the body and sometimes I'm not. And yet I remain. Obviously, I'm not the environment, because sometimes I'm aware of the environment and sometimes I'm not. So what is this sense of I that is aware of all this? And if you can just sit and wonder that while remaining alert, that's great. If you need a little assistance, all you need to do is in your mind repeat the word I. And every time you repeat that word I, be aware of what you think you are. I think you're the body. I, these thoughts. I, these relationships you have. Think of all those things. And the more you say I and contemplate this, you realize that you are not all of those definitions. And the longer you repeat this, eventually you will come to the full realization of the eternal I, the foundation of all of these experiences. So let's do this now, sitting quietly, wondering about what you are, and if necessary, just gently repeating the word I and being conscious of what you think that means. So this is an active process here. Now on your own, you can continue this process. And you've already begun directing your consciousness to contemplate this. So every moment that you spend in this way, even if you don't have profound realizations at the moment of contemplation, you are directing your awareness, putting the momentum towards knowing that. So anytime you do this, you are building that momentum towards that full knowledge of what the actual I is, the true self is. So let it go for now, and let us take up another technique, chanting through the chakras. Again, this is another active technique. And each time we chant at one of the chakras, feel any concepts, thoughts, or distractions dissolving. But simultaneously be aware of that witnessing presence that observes you going through this process. So bring your awareness down to the root chakra, the very base of the spine. Feel it. And mentally chant quietly, Om, 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 as though you feel it pulsing at the base of the spine, at the root chakra. Pull your attention up into the second chakra, the level of the sacrum, the genital region, and mentally chant Om, 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 feeling as though the syllable Om is resonating within that chakra. Lift your awareness up into the third chakra, the level of the navel. In the center of the belly, mentally chant Om, 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 feeling it resonating within the belly. Lift your awareness up into the heart center, the space between the shoulder blades and the back, the very center of the chest, mentally chanting Om, 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 feeling it resonating within the heart space. Pulling the awareness up into the throat, the very center of the throat, mentally chant Om, 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 as though it's resonating within the very center of the throat. Bring your awareness up into the spiritual eye center. Feel that space. Mentally chant Om, 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 Om. Feeling the Om vibration pulsing within the spiritual eye center. And now finally lift your awareness up to the crown of the head, the crown chakra. Here, feel the space maybe an inch above the head, if you can imagine that. And mentally chant Om, 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 Om. And imagine your temporal sense of self, your history, your past, your body, your thoughts, your personality. Imagine it dissolving. That you're letting go of attachment to it so that you can experience pure, infinite consciousness beyond concepts and definitions. What would it be like if you could do that? Imagine that. And let the chanting of Om at the crown be the anchor, the dissolving agent of the process. Now you can let go of the chanting. Keep your awareness at the crown. Just sit quietly, resting, holding your awareness at the crown chakra, breathing, being aware of your current state of consciousness, and acknowledging yourself and everything that you experience as an aspect of divine consciousness. The observer is the eternal aspect, that presence which you are, the observer. Any thoughts that rise and fall, any distractions that remain, that is the temporal aspect. But you are at peace with both, and you can sit quietly, being fully self-realized in this moment, in this way. Now let your awareness rest and fall back down into the heart, the center of the chest. Here, imagine a radiant light, shining and brilliant. And in that light, imagine a sense of peace and good fortune and self-knowledge. Peace, good fortune, and self-knowledge. And on each inhale and exhale, feel that radiance growing stronger within your consciousness, within your heart. Peace, good fortune, and self-knowledge. That radiance permeates every cell of your body. Feel that radiance permeating the environment around you. And imagine it flooding every aspect of your life. Every relationship, every circumstance, every moment, every meal, every bit of work that you do, however menial or profound it may be, that this radiance, good fortune, peacefulness, and self-knowledge permeates everyone and everything that is your life. And let go of that whole image. Bring your awareness fully back to your entire body. When you're ready, you can take a nice, easy, deep breath in. Exhale, relax, and open your eyes. And I've got about 10 more minutes before I have to move on with a few other activities today. So I thought, we haven't done this for a while in these monthly meditation, these online monthly meditation groups. So I thought I'd take a moment to see if you have any questions about anything that you've learned, either through the 11-hour downloadable Kriya Yoga training course, or the Yoga Sutras 26-hour course, or the free stuff online, the youtube.com/Kriya Yoga online, or even just through our personal interactions. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to type them in the chat box here. I'll do my best to answer them with the time we have. And if you don't have any questions and you're just feeling content and you want to go about your day after this meditation, please just type no questions in the chat box and we'll conclude. Okay, so far everyone's stating that there aren't any questions, so that's good. I'll wait just about 30 seconds longer to see if anything else shows up in the chat box before we move on. Okay. Well, I want to encourage you to go to astralvedicastrology.com to the Learn Kriya Yoga tab and make sure you're aware of the next 3 dates for our monthly group. We've got October, November, and December left in 2015, and the dates are posted there. Once I get into November and I have a little more downtime, I'm going to schedule the dates for the months in 2016. So you'll be aware of those too. But otherwise, it's good being with you again, and we'll be in touch soon. So be well. Thanks.